Martin Peyton is a determined man. Today, through sheer force of will, he has overcome the weaknesses of age and illness. He has virtually ordered his weakened legs to carry him down the Peyton Place waterfront, to confront his grandson, Rodney Harrington. Martin Peyton has sought out Rodney to probe for a reaction to the fact that he changed his last will and testament, to pass on his wealth in an extraordinary way. Rodney knows the old man's way, and he has shown his contempt for it. But Martin Peyton is a determined man.
What are you trying to do?
Let's talk about a few things that must be talked about.
Just go away, that's all I ask.
Is it, Rodney? You can't run forever, Rodney. You and I are rather like the hare and the tortoise. You can move much faster, but I'll eventually cover the same ground. You'll have to face me sometime. Why not now?
All right, why not now?
May I sit down? Thank you. That's better. Now then, you're upset with the provisions of my will.
Upset? Oh, no, I'm not upset. I'm sick.
And you see no reason for them?
I'm not interested in looking.
Why not?
Because nothing could justify it, that's why.
You're a man now, Rodney. Stop thinking and behaving like a boy.
Yes, sir.
That will was conceived out of compassion.
Compassion?
Yes, compassion. For the suffering you've endured ever since your father forced you and Betty apart.
That's dead. Grandfather, that's all dead.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
You never feel that she's your natural mate? That you two belong together?
We're not together. We have different lives now.
What kind of a life do you lead now, Rodney? When you lost Betty, you became the very portrait of the young man dissolving into ineffectiveness. You became selfish. You became spineless. You drift from one interest to another with absolutely no sense of direction.
Would you rather have me interested in another man's wife?
Betty has never been Stephen's wife. Not in the same sense she was yours, Rodney.
What happened, Grandfather? Did you get bored with all that money? Did buying and selling human beings become more fascinating than corporations? Is that the only kick you've got left?
There's no way of putting the intentions of my will into legal terms, Rodney. But you know what they are. You read between the lines immediately. You know that you're the only one I trust with my estate. And you know that you could manage it if you were at peace with yourself. You also know that in order to find peace, you need the help of someone else. Someone who can give you the strength to survive in a world you're so desperately fighting. We both know who that person is, don't we, Rodney? That's why you run away from me. That's why you want to run away from me now. Because I know the truth. And I'm forcing you to look at it.
This is the outdoors, to distinguish from the indoors. The scientists say the main difference is...
air.
Correct. Give that lady all she can breathe. And this is to keep you warm at all times.
Norm, it's such a beautiful day. Columbus, Melrose. I feel like I've been cooped up for years.
Well, I'm going to show you the sights.
Thank you.
Here they come here. Don't Billy.
Stephen?
Carson. This is Sergeant Bates.
Sergeant. We know each other.
Well, it'll only be a matter of hours before Chandler is picked up. A warrant was issued at 9 o'clock this morning. In the meantime, you'll be fully protected. The sergeant and his men will keep your house under surveillance.
Fine. Now, what happens after Chandler is picked up?
The usual.
I see. He gets a chance for legal advice, and he also gets a chance to keep his mouth shut.
Of course. Well, I told you, Elliot, none of this would be easy.
But do you think he might talk? Compulsively, I mean. Some men, and I've seen it, once they get inside a police station, they start to spill everything. You couldn't stop it even if you wanted to.
Well, that's possible, but you're reaching. You can't count on that.
Now, let me point out something to you. Chandler hates me with a very special passion. Now, maybe he wants to hurt me more than he wants to stay out of trouble. With a man like Chandler, you never know.
Well, it's possible, Mr. Carson.
Stephen, we've been letting Rachel continue her evening classes, but should we take her out of school now until they find Chandler?
What do you think? Well, I don't see why she can't continue with school as long as somebody takes her and picks her up.
I've already arranged for that.
Good. As Mr. Cord said, we anticipate an early arrest. But for now, it would be good if I could get a rundown on where the members of your family are likely to be at different times of the day.
Sure, I can write you out a schedule now. Now, Rachel and our son, right now, they're with my father at the general store, which is just down the street.
I suppose he's fully aware of the situation.
Oh, yes.
You see, Mr. Carson, with men like this Forrest, or Chandler as he calls himself, a certain kind of confusion sometimes sets in. Because of his record, you'd say he'd be likely to go for the girl. But there's no telling what tricks his mind may be playing on him by now. You've all stood in his way at one time or another, so to him you're all enemies. Even if you've never said more than a few words to him personally.
I understand.
On the other hand, there's no cause for alarm, providing we keep in touch throughout the day. Check with each other regularly. I've never lost a customer yet.
Well, that's good news. Very well, Sergeant. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I've got to get going. I'm sorry I didn't get this underway faster, but it shouldn't be long.
Thanks anyway, Steve.
You know what? You kiss good.
You're not bad either.
Will you marry me?
No, we're too young. How can we be sure it's really love?
That's what I like about you. You're so witty. And sexy.
Norm.
What, don't you feel good?
Yeah, I feel great.
Well, we're married. It's okay.
I know, but Dr. Rossi warned me again this morning. It's all my fault. Maybe we should have waited. What do you think?
You know, in philosophy class, we studied one of the early Greek philosophers named Zeno. And he proved that you could never really walk across a room. Because before you could, you'd have to get halfway there. And to get halfway, you'd have to go half of halfway. And then half of that half. So you can never really get started.
Oh, Norm, that's silly. People walk across the room all the time.
That's just the point. He proved logically you couldn't. Just like a lot of people are trying to prove to us that logically we're too young to be married. And logically a Harrington would never be happy with a Jacks. And logically we should stay apart.
Well, I know, but...
Because what I mean is you can get so wrapped up in logic that you forget about your feelings, and that's what's important. It's just natural for us to be together. And what's natural is best medicine.
Maybe you're right.
Sure I'm right.
Guess what?
What?
I love you.
Yeah?
And I'm starving.
Well, let's go get a sandwich.
I have a sudden craving for lobster.
Then lobster it is. Come on.
Any luck? Nobody home. Okay, let's take off. We'll stop back later. Just a second. There's your kid. Hi, Rita.
Oh, hi, Sergeant.
Your mom around?
She went shopping. What's the matter?
We were looking for a man who's been hanging around here. Lived in the boarding house. We figured he dropped into the tavern now and again. We wanted to ask Ada about him.
Gosh, I don't know. What's his name?
Jack Forrest. But he's been going under the alias of Chandler.
Chandler? What's he done?
Oh, you know him?
Yes.
Maybe you can answer a few questions then.
Not today, officer. She's been pretty sick, and this is her first day out. If you don't believe me, you can ask Dr. Rossi.
I see. Well, we'll talk to Edith later on then.
What's Chandler done? Has he hurt somebody?
They seem to be pretty sure down at headquarters that he's the answer to what happened to the McKenzie girl. They got a warrant out for his arrest.
Thank you. It's true. That's what Rachel thought. Allison and Chandler.
Come on, I thought you were hungry.
I sort of just lost my appetite.
Rachel?
Oh, you scared me.
I'm sorry.
Well, I just thought, what are you doing here?
Well, I came to take you home.
Oh, that's very nice, but I have a ride home.
Oh, I see one of the students?
No, it's Rodney. Mr. Carson asked him to come.
Oh, that's fine. Well, listen, why isn't he here? I mean, this whole time you could be standing here by yourself.
Oh, well, I would have waited inside, but...
Don't you understand, Rachel? Nobody knows where Chandler is now. I mean, nobody knows what he has on his mind. I mean, if you're going to take this whole thing casually, then...
I'm not taking it casually, and I know about him. You don't have to tell me what he's like.
Well, why can't you take care of yourself?
You're shouting at me.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Ron. Look, the whole point of the chaperone thing is going to be wasted if you're not here on time. Now, it's not the 59 minutes out of the hour that counts. It could be that last 60 seconds when Chandler could...
Rachel told me she always spends 5 or 10 minutes after class to talk to her teacher. So I figured I was just about on time.
Well, you figured wrong. We have to stay with this thing until it's finished, even if it involves a little personal inconvenience. Well, I have to get back to work. Good night, Rachel.
Good night, and thank you for coming.
Good night, Doctor.
Good night, Ron.
Rachel, did I interrupt something?
No, just an argument.
About what?
Oh, Dr. Rossi felt it was his duty to come out and watch over me, that's all. Come on, let's go.
You know, I think he's going to explode.
I don't know why he keeps looking for the chance to say something mean about me.
He's hiding his feelings. You know it. I know it. See, the trouble with Mike Rossi is that he's not a devious man. He's the world's worst liar, and he's pretending that he doesn't care about you.
You know, I can't figure out whether you like Dr. Rossi or what.
Well, he's a very likable guy.
Oh, you can do better than that.
All right, I like him. But I'll tell you something. I wish he'd stay away from you.
Why?
Oh, it annoys me.
Why?
Why?
Oh, I want to know. I want you to tell me.
I told you.
Well, because it annoys you, but you can get a better answer than that.
All right. Maybe I'm interested in you. And maybe I look at Mike Rossi and I see an older, handsome guy. I get a little jealous, maybe.
You don't care about me. I know that, not really. Maybe it's just that you don't want anybody else to be interested in me.
Oh, now, come on.
Well?
Well, what? Look, I've had enough, Rachel. Now, I was talked into coming down here and protecting you, and that's exactly what I'm going to do, nothing more. Get in the car.
Okay.
Why don't you look at one of those school books? Give you something to do on the long ride home.